Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-up for the week ending Saturday, November 15th. First, this week, I completed reading a book of poetry by Andrea Gibson, You Better Be Lightning. This is the third volume of Andrea Gibson's that I have finished reading in recent weeks, all in preparation for the Poetry Thursday episode that I did this week on the life and poetry of Andrea Gibson, whom unfortunately we lost to ovarian cancer this past July at the age of just 49. This was a Poetry Thursday episode that I wasn't exactly sure I was going to be able to make. I wasn't sure that I was up to the task, and I can only say that it was a labor of love. I also completed this week Five Little Pigs by Agatha Christie. This is a Hercule Poirot mystery. This is the pick for the FOMO Book Club for November and December. And I believe that Jack at Spreadbookjoy and Gemma at Gem of Books will be doing a live stream discussion of this in December. This was Alice's favorite Agatha Christie novel, and that's Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, who was also one of the co-founders of the FOMO Book Club. And sadly, she passed away about a little over a year ago. And Jack and Gemma decided to kick off this year's reading list for the FOMO Book Club, which starts in November, with Alice's favorite Agatha Christie. She had read all of Agatha Christie's, and this was her favorite novel, and they chose this in honor of Alice and in her memory. This was just an absolutely delightful read. This is a cold case where Hercule Poirot is called in to investigate a murder that had taken place about 15 years before, where a woman was convicted of murdering her husband. And now, all these years later, I mean, the husband was killed, the wife was convicted, she died in prison, and now their daughter, now an adult, has gone to Hercule Poirot and enlisted his services in trying to prove her mother's innocence. And so he reopens the investigation of this murder. That's all I'm going to say about it. There's going to be future discussions about this in the coming months. I am continuing to read John Irving's The Cider House Rules. We have a large Voxer chat that is reading and discussing this novel. The chat is called The World According to John Irving. And we are this week discussing chapters 5 through 7. I have read ahead. I'm on the last week's reading now. I probably will finish this book in the coming week. This is a reread for me, but the last time I read this was 40 years ago when it was a new novel. The reason we decided to read this or reread this in the John Irving group was that a new John Irving novel was coming out this month, and it is described as a prequel to the Cider House Rules. And my copy of the new book, Queen Esther, just arrived this week. So Irving revisits the same setting, the orphanage at St. Cloud's in Maine, and some of the same characters, namely Dr. Wilbur Larch from the earlier novel. Now, this novel takes place before the action of Cider House Rules. So other than setting and some of the characters, I'm not sure if there's any other connection. But we decided to read or reread Cider House Rules first in anticipation of the newest novel. We're going to continue the group into December, and we're going to read Queen Esther in December. I have been reading for my real life in-person book group Florence Knapp's novel, The Names. This is actually a debut novel, and it tells the story of a family, a husband and wife, and their two children, and the naming of the second child, who is a son. What we are following in this novel are several different narratives. The mother doesn't want to name the son after the father, and so we follow different possibilities. If she named the boy after her husband, if she named him Gordon, if she named him the choice that she would like, and if she named him the choice that the older sister, Maya, would like. And so we follow three different narratives over time to see how life might have been different for the boy, but also for the entire family. So it's a very interesting structure. This so far for me has been a really tough read. Because it is very much a novel about domestic violence. The husband in this family is a well-known and highly regarded physician, but he is an absolute monster in the home. He's a monster to his wife, and he's very controlling and very manipulative of his children. So it is a disturbing read. I'm not going to say any more about this until I finish the book and my group has had a chance to meet and talk about it, as I always do. I'll talk about it after my group's meeting. And then I was absolutely delighted this week to receive my long-awaited comfort read, and that is Travis Baldree's Brigands and Breadknives, which was just released this week. This is the third in the Legends and Lattes series. There was Legends and Lattes, then there was what is also kind of a prequel, Bookshops and Bone Dust, and now Brigands and Breadknives. So we're revisiting a lot of the familiar characters from the earlier two books. I was completely new to this kind of a read when I discovered Legends and Lattes back last November, and I read it because so many of my BookTube friends had talked about it and described it as kind of a warm hug of a comfort read, and I started reading it last November. Just at night. It's like my going to sleep ritual, and it was a very calming read. And truly, I mean, it truly does define for me what a comfort read is. And I loved the first. I loved the first volume, and I went on to the second, and I've been anxiously awaiting this third volume. And I only read it at night before I go to sleep because I need something to calm me down and turn off the noise in my head and the noise from the news and the world, and Travis Baldree provides that. So that's been really wonderful. So that's what I've been up to. So that's just a quick little wrap up for this week. I hope that you'll let me know in the comments if you've read or are reading any of these things, or what you're reading. I'd love to hear about that. So, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.